All right, we're back. You haven't missed a dang thing. I haven't even got the stuff out of the chests. So yeah, we're talking about this guy. If you missed the last episode, which you probably did, and you're probably not even watching this one, the problem with Jordan Peterson is the name of the video. Okay. And look, I don't freaking bandwagon crap just because I want to. When I was introduced to Jordan Peterson, it was on my mission. There was a missionary that was my companion that was very much into him. Like, really liked his philosophies, had recordings of him on his phone, all this stuff. And I would hear the recordings because, there's only so many battles you want to fight with a companion within a 6-week period. And so this just wasn't one of them. I didn't care. That, and like, his message wasn't bad. Like, Jordan Peterson's message is actually good. It's not hurtful in any way. In fact, it's more helpful. It's uplifting. It's just a good message all around. And anyone that says it's hurtful or whatever is just ignorant and just retarded. Like, there's no other word for it. And I don't mean retarded as in you have a mental disability. I think it's stupid to refer to a person that has a mental disability as retarded. I mean, you have the capacity of complex thought and you don't. That's what makes you retarded. Okay? Whenever I say retarded in any video, that is what I mean. And if you have a problem with it, don't watch the video. Like, it's YouTube. There's a lot of other videos out there, and I'm definitely not the best creator on the platform. I'd probably say retarded a lot, and even in my brain, in my mind, I don't imagine some autistic kid walking down the street. No, I imagine this freaking moron that spent like 40 grand going to school for college, wasted his parents' money, and just sits there thinking he knows everything and won't accept any other explanation for anything. That is a retard. Anybody that's not willing to listen to anybody is a retard. I went into this video ready to listen. I was like, I want to see if there's stuff I just don't know about. Is he a freaking pedophile? Like, what? It's freaking YouTube. Anything can happen. Where are my keys? I think they're in here. No. I put them in my valuables. Okay. So, let's continue, shall we?
2017 around the issue of transgender pronouns. If it weren't for that vocal opposition to transgender pronouns 2 years ago, he likely wouldn't have the following that he now has. It's all
True.
Predicated upon this political issue on which he commented. And there's a huge market for that, right?
Okay, so his claim is I'm not gonna imply what like his official claim is, but his claim is that what he's talking about right now is how Peterson does not say that he's a rightist or Republican or whatever. And at the beginning of the video, he shows like he's against a lot of left stuff, so of course he's a rightist, which is just ridiculous and retarded. And now he's saying he's also a political figure, even though he says he's not. And his straight up claim is, well, he started out from politics. Like his big break was politics. And yeah, I mean, Joe Rogan's, I never even heard of Joe Rogan before, or like till recently. And he's more of a political figure than I would say Peterson is, and he admits it. Like, most of his stuff is political, but Peterson didn't have any control about when his big break would make it. He was putting stuff on YouTube so people could just find it. He's just he thought his message was worth hearing, and so he put it on YouTube. It was only when, it was actually kind of funnily enough, the leftists that got him famous, because the original videos that really put him on the map weren't his own. There are videos other people were taking or on the news or whatever, and people just like, the way he talks and just like he never really deviates from psychology. It's just really refreshing to see someone that can be intellectual and not inherently be like aligned with either side of the political spectrum. It's very convenient, which is what he says, Peterson. It's very convenient for the left to put him on the right, because one, you can't consider that anybody rational has an opposing opinion from you, because that challenges your own opinions. And what the frick? Oh, it's this guy. It happened in the last video too. It actually kind of scared me because I am home alone. Of course, I know. Okay, for the game, I'm wearing headphones. So yeah, like his argument doesn't make any sense because he didn't get to choose how he started, and how he started affects the rest of his career. Like, and it's not really how he started, but like his big break. He got typecasted, to put it frankly. Uh, that's why other political people want him on the show. They want to show that he's not as smart as the right claims he is, or the right. I did quotations there, if you're wondering. So yeah, I don't see why that would make him political. If he just because he started out, like just because he got his big break on something that he didn't even put up. Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Now, it is much easier, as I've talked about before, to become popular and to make money online if you're doing this anti-SJW, anti-political correctness content than it is.
I will say he is kind of right about that. Anti-woke stuff actually gets a lot more traction than I think YouTube likes it to. At least, on YouTube. It doesn't exist on Facebook because Facebook doesn't allow it to exist. But yeah, it's kind of funny because most of the big people are on YouTube pretty much identify in the middle, maybe a little on the left side, which is fine. It doesn't make them any less of a good creator. They could be total leftist, and if they made me laugh, I wouldn't give a shit. But I have been noticing a lot of the videos that really get traction now are this anti-woke, extreme leftist bullshit, like feminism and stuff. Because here's the problem: is that the woke culture is toxic as hell. It really is, and people know it. Like, a lot of people know it. It doesn't seem like that. It seems like you're the minority when you think that, but you're not. Trust me, there are a lot of people in the world that know it's horseshit. Like, they watch a feminist movie, and the person complain, "Oh, did I grab the keys? I did grab the keys. Okay, good." Whatever. Anyway, you're not alone. Everyone knows it's freaking horse shit. Anyone that thinks it's not horse shit and then it's actually good, you're a retard. You're actually retarded. You have the capacity to think for yourself and you don't. You're retarded. Why would I ever call someone that has no control over the state of what they are, like brain capacity wise, or even like brain functioning wise, because there can be autistic people that are way smarter than me, like 100%. But like, why would I ever call them retarded? Like, they're probably like a genius for the category that they're in. And I'm gonna judge them because they're not as smart as me or they're not as functional as me. Yeah, that's retarded. Actual bigotry is retarded. But yeah, let's keep watching.
Any other type of content in the sphere of politics and social criticism, especially on YouTube, which is where Peterson became prominent.
I shouldn't say this, but I'm going to because it's just so goddamn funny. I can't help but say it. I figured out how to monetize social justice warriors.
That is what it is.
I know, it's so funny. I just can't believe it. It's
the other way. But Peterson is also popular because he gives advice about personal development that's often quite good. He talks about alienation. He talks about how to find meaning in life. And some of Peterson's critics on the left, I believe strongly, should just admit that Peterson is talking about serious issues and he's communicating real, practical ideas that can help people. But it's really important to be able to distinguish his competence as a psychologist from his ideologies that are very wrapped up in politics. Just because Peterson offers possible solutions to common dilemmas that a lot of young people, particularly young men, face when they enter adulthood and when they try to find their place in the world, that doesn't mean that by default everything Jordan Peterson says about politics or philosophy has to be true. The ideologies that make up Peterson...
Okay, he actually has a point there. Just because you're an expert in something does not make you an expert in everything. I once knew a guy that he got a PhD, okay, and he basically believed because he had a PhD he had a higher plane of thinking, and that's freaking retarded. If I didn't have to pay so much, I could get a PhD, and I'm a freaking retard. Okay, I am probably the dumbest person I know, and I promise you, getting a PhD is not hard. It's just a lot of commitment. If you did everything that a PhD requires, if you could do it in half the time, I bet you almost everyone would have a PhD. If you could skip generals and half the unnecessary bullcrap classes you have to take for college, I guarantee almost everyone would have a PhD. You might say that's part of the PhD experience. No, it's not. That's just dumb bullcrap school. Like, it's not helpful. There's other countries that don't do that, and their people are considered way more not intelligent but schooled than us. Man, before hard mode is really easy. The B gun's still good, and it just kills everything. So yeah, I think he's right. Like, just because he's a good psychologist doesn't make him, right about like everything he says. The problem I have with it though is that he assumes that just because it's politics, that it's not psychology or sociology. Like, Jordan Peterson knows a lot about psychology, and you don't just know about one subject in psychology. It's not like being a primary doctor where you don't know jack shit about the specialist stuff. It's actual the way he talks about other things. He actually continues to study daily other subjects in psychology. It's just that he probably teaches a class or knows a lot more off the cuff about what it takes to have a successful life, or a meaningful life, or whatever you want to call what he talks about. That's the same exact time I did it last time. But yeah, so I mean he's right, but the way he's implicating it is that it is wrong, because it's just look, another shadow key. It's just because he doesn't want to admit that he might be right with politics, that so like an actual doctor that's talking about sociology and psychology, something he actually studies, and that, you know, the mass population might actually be wrong, is kind of a scary thing to talk about. Because here's the thing, if to admit that the left, that the wokeism is wrong in anything, or in most things, what else do you have to admit? Like, that is a huge box with an even bigger cat inside than most people are willing to accept. It's so hard to just believe that, to come up with your own opinion instead of just following other people. It's really hard, because then you actually have to think. And I'm not calling people retarded. I'm saying, because everyone's like this. When you're in high school, that's all you are. You are a mold to fit in with your peers and to not stand out to your parents. That is what you are in high school. You are not a person. You are a thing that has a collective consciousness with the people around you, so you can fit in. But eventually you go off on your own, and you have to start actually finding out the truths about life, like what actually matters. And it's hard, you know. You don't want to have to go out of your way, you know, take your own personal time to find out all this stuff about, like, what you deem is right and what you deem is wrong, or what is objectively right and what is objectively wrong. It's hard. And it's so much easier to just say, well, these are the people I've trusted before, or trust in some ways, so I'm just going to fully trust them. It's probably a natural thing in psychology, of just identifying as a group instead of identifying as a person. Saying, well, I'm woke, or whatever, or I want to be in this tribe, so I no longer identify as myself, and instead identify as what they say I should identify as. Anyway, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, finding out what because there are objective truths in life, right? You're gonna live, you're gonna die. That's an objective truth. But finding out what the subjective truths are that you're comfortable with, and what, like, how you want to think about stuff and how you want to picture it, that crap's hard, man. And I get it. Like, it's when you think, when it shows, like, when you go look for it and it shows that most people believe this, it is so much easier to just say, yep, that's what I believe too. And it's not, it's not exactly like that, but it's pretty much. It's like dogmatism. You're just like, in a way, being brainwashed to think a certain way, whether it be good or bad. I mean, dogmatism is dogmatism. See, it won't. Yeah, okay. Sometimes it just freaks out and I can't actually do anything. I'm looking for people that are wondering, I'm looking for the freaking missile, the magic missile, because I'm pretty sure you have to use it to make a really nice really nice staff later. And I'm a mage, like, that's just my class. I know I'm using the bee gun more than I'm using magic, but it's just because the bee gun is so nice. Completely useless after I beat the wall of flesh, but it's really nice for now. Also, I am playing this on PS5, even though it's a PS4 version. I think the fire rod's actually better than the magic missile. I just need the magic missile for... I'm pretty sure I have to craft the thing that I want with it. And no, I don't do any duplication glitch. I do it when I play on the PC, but it's a lot harder to actually do on the PS5. It might be easy on the PS4 to do it. Yeah, actually it would be. But the PS5, I'm not like practiced with the menuing on the PS5, so it's just whatever. Anyway, let's get back to the video, huh?
Worldview, like Jungian psychology and fervent individualism, are not the only ideologies that can inform most of the advice that Peterson gives. So what happens in practice is that Peterson fans will start taking his reasonable advice. It understandably has a positive impact on, I would say there, probably his life or sense of self-worth, as disproportionately men that follow Peterson, which is fine. But then he makes the fallacious assumption that what Peterson is telling him to do is inseparably tied to Peterson's philosophical and political outlook. Peterson's fans will often assume that because the advice about finding your place in the world is good and useful, because Peterson's personal worldview on those issues is true, that the politics of Peterson are the only possible catalyst of that advice and of that ideology. In reality, Peterson's giving universal, non-controversial advice, which is
Okay. So he's saying, one, I think he's assuming a little bit. Yes, the guys that are getting, it is disproportionately men that listen to Jordan Peterson, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that. To be honest, they're the ones that kind of need it because woke culture is really like pro women and they can do whatever they want, and men are pieces of shit, which is not true. And yeah, it's coming from a man. So whoever wants to disagree with me can suck it. I know I'm a piece of shit, but you don't. But I think the problem with what he's saying is there is a certain atmosphere behind words. Okay? There's a reason why Neil deGrasse Tyson is one of my favorite scientists of all time, and he is, I think, predominantly left. Not like it matters or anything. I don't even know why I said it. But there's a reason why when he talks about the universe and how we're all somehow connected to the universe, so we're less insignificant than we might believe. There is a reason why people cling on to that stuff. And it's not because we want fulfillment in life. It's because there is an abstract truth to what they're saying. And it gives a certain atmosphere. It draws in certain concepts of thought that we actually want to think about, that are deep and emotional and have actual value behind the words, instead of this BS about everyone's special and all that shit. Sharing is caring. It's freaking bullshit. It has actual weight behind the words. It actually means something. And I think we get to him. I think when we're introduced to him, that's what we start out with, is the advice. And it's good advice. Like most of the time, it is really good advice, and it's very well constructed and given. And then when he talks about the politics, he's probably not actually thinking that it's politics that he's talking about. He's probably talking about actual facts that he believes to, like, well, facts you don't have to believe them to be true. Actual, like, studies and evidences that he believes to be true, right? The thing is, if you stop to think about when he's talking about that stuff versus when he's talking about the self-worth and putting your life together, it is almost the same atmosphere or feeling with both, which is why we listen to his stuff. You can tell that he cares about people, so he's not going to have any belief that is not aligned with what he's already illustrated, that he cares about people. There's a reason why, I mean, not to bring religion into this, it's more of a psychological thing. In the Bible, Jesus says you'll know people by their fruits. And what that means really is people are a collection of metaphorical seeds. Okay? Basically, the seeds are our beliefs, or basically the doctrine that we live by. Okay? We plant it in ourselves, and you can know a person's intentions and basically like what they want by the outcome of their beliefs, of not just like religion, the outcome of political beliefs, stuff, and everything. That's why I don't like Biden at all. Okay, not because he's a Democrat, but because we've seen in the past few months, that the fruits of his labor reflect what he actually is. Like deep down, it reflects a core misunderstanding. You'll never get good fruit from a bad tree. Is also another quote. I mean, I'm misquoting it, but that is roughly the idea. No good tree will ever produce bad fruit. And it's not talking about like people are the tree, because obviously you can be a good person and do bad things every once in a while, or even like every day. It's more of referring to actions. So the fruits are the actions. Where do the actions stem from? Well, they have to go back to something that you practice or believe, and then that would go to a doctrinal truth that you live by. Okay? So you can correctly basically draw back on this line, finding out what's the value of this guy's basically beliefs by how good of a person he is. And to be honest, a person that goes out of his way to give not only good advice, but advice no one else will say stuff no one else will say, that is good, instructional, and just overall healthy for the society, that is a good person. So it's not exactly that we get attached to him because of that, and we believe because he is, has good instructional advice, that we believe everything he says. Finally found the magic missile, dude. Took forever. Now I don't know what I'm gonna do. I guess I could go destroy another world. I don't need water walking. Who freaking needs to walk on water? Anyway, yeah, let's go do that. Actually, let's get back to the house and put some stuff away. What the shiz? How am I at spawn? Can I have a house there? I mean, a bed there? Probably not. That's fine. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, like, we know people are not as unintelligent as just following whatever. Okay, there's a reason why we either settle on something or follow the instructions of something else. Whatever. There's a reason why the people that are getting the inspiration from Jordan Peterson are staying for the political stuff. Whether Jordan Peterson thinks they're political or not, it's for whatever reason. Other people can decide that. It's because it shares the same atmosphere of the words that he already shared. They're the same fruits from the same tree. There is actual meaning behind them because they have actual value. His other points of view. When you get to when you want like, so let's talk about the opposite of that. Feminism. It's not exactly the opposite, but there's a lot of movies nowadays that are making feminist, kind of messages. And for whatever reason, we're not liking them. As a collective, they do not do as well box office wise. I have a lot of golden keys. They do not do as well box office wise as other as normal movies do that aren't trying to push an agenda. And the thing is, let's say a rightist was trying to push an agenda on it in a movie. Would it be accepted more? I don't know. Probably not, because the problem is when you're pushing politics, have no mental value behind them. They are constructs made to have different opinions on purpose so that they can solve social problems within the government and social structures. There is no right answer to any of them. The problem is, at least there shouldn't be. Not that there shouldn't be, but there generally isn't a directly provable right answer. Well, the problem is we've kind of blurred the line between political and everything else. So politics have lost all their value because politics range from what you eat to when you should go to sleep at night. Like, all of that is political now. So it has no value. We've devalued political ideas. I think I just said that they don't have value anyway. They technically don't to the individual. They should have value to, a mass of people. But now they have zero value because none of the problems ever get solved. We never actually talk about it. There is no discussion. It is all prejudice and very, very childish. So there's no value to it anymore. Well, when movies try to put feminism in their movies, first off, saying that a person is just good just because of who they are has no value to it at all. Like, we've known that for a long time. Freaking Tolkien knew that. Frodo was a little bit like, he was already, how long have I been recording? Okay. Whoops, did I just stop it? No. Okay, so Frodo already was like pretty decent against the ring. Like, he already had kind of a resistance to it naturally, and it never really explains that. But the difference is that he was still a person. It wasn't who he was that made him special. It was what he was willing to do. I mean, like, that's a good message. It has value. It has weight to it. Being good, like, just being naturally good and having no problems in your life just because you're a female and you were born that way has zero freaking message to it at all. There's a reason why 007 has lost popularity throughout history, and it's because he is the male equivalent of a feminist character. He is a Mary Sue, and I refer to Mary Sue as both male and female. But yeah, he is a Mary Sue. And, the good James Bond movies do try to alter that, but that is why the villains make the Bond movies, not Bond. Because the villains are actual people. They fail. They're complex, and they're quirky. James Bond is just fantasy fulfillment, and any fantasy fulfillment, no matter what it is, it's just that it shows up a lot more with female protagonists nowadays than male protagonists. Fantasy fulfillment, no matter what it is, has zero weight to anything. It can be done right, and the message of like the story can be done right. But if your message is based on the character, it's gonna suck. It just will. And that is the fruits, like, because what that's promoting is toxic. You're saying because you fit a certain criteria, you will never have to change, will never have to grow, will never have to become a better human being. You are perfect the way you are. That is objectively wrong. It is objectively wrong. No one ever looks at a 4-year-old and says, that kid is ready to take on the world. No one does that. Absolutely no one. Okay? They have to change. They have to grow. Everyone has to do that. That is objectively true. Anyway, we'll continue this in the next video.